All right, Merry Christmas, everyone, on Merry NJ08. I got another 2019 year-end special for my year-end series. This year, we got a new one. We're going to add a new one to the year-end series that I usually don't do. Every year, I try to add new ones. My top 5 personal TV shows of all time. We've been doing a lot of lists, countdown lists on this series. So we're going to do my top 5 personal favorite TV shows. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer. I love a lot of TV shows, a lot of different genres. So, of course, I naturally can't add all of them to this list because, again, what's the purpose of a list? It would just be too long. But do understand, I love so many genres. Comedy. There's great shows on Prime, Amazon. There's great shows on Netflix, Hulu. I love them all. But listen, 5 is not a lot. So I really had to condense it to my best of best. So I'm going to talk about the top 5, okay? 5 through number 1. Number 1 being my favorite of all time. The best of the best. Pretty steep competition. I mean, it's a pretty steep list because they're really fighting for that number 1 spot. They're really fighting for, the winner. And it's tough competition because these are great shows. Just think, out of all the shows that I watch, I had to condense them to 5. Let's get right into it. At number 5, Game of Thrones. A great show. HBO. An HBO original series. I know a lot of people weren't crazy about the last season. That's all personal opinion. But anyway, overall, I'm talking about overall, not per season. Overall, the show is fantastic. One of the greatest shows. I mean, this is all personal opinion of me, of course. But I can guarantee you, if you look up, what people say in general, it's one of the greatest shows ever. In this modern era. And you don't see shows like this quite often. The production value, the acting, it's really something. And if you haven't checked it out yet, you definitely owe it to yourself to check this show out. I have all the box sets on Blu-ray. And they just recently actually released a giant box chest of every season. Coming in at number 4 is The Twilight Zone. Yeah. Sorry, I honestly think this is one of the greatest shows ever. You don't know how many times me and my family watch The Twilight Zone. And every, I think, 4th of July and New Year's, they actually play The Twilight Zone marathons on TV. And we sit and watch them. Even though I have the box set and we have them on streaming services. But The Twilight Zone never gets old. There's so many episodes. They have so many cameos and guest appearances from actors and actresses. The Twilight Zone is a fantastically written by Rod Sterling. A fantastically written show. Black and white, but one of the best. Classic show. Coming in at number 3, The Walking Dead. AMC's The Walking Dead. What a show. What a show. I remember the first time I saw it. I was late to the party. I was big into the Kirkman books, the comics. And, I had already been looking and reading them. But then I saw the AMC show. And eventually I got to it. I got to season 1. And, man, I was blown away by what they were doing with that show. And it was really something. And, Robert Kirkman, I was a big fan of him. And then coming into, like I said, to the show from the comic books, it was like it came to life. And, the acting, the makeup, it was scary. It was really something, but not just the whole zombie part, the characters and how you fell in love with them and how you grown attached to them. It's such a great show. I understand a lot of people think it's just about the zombies, but it really isn't. It's really about getting attached to the characters. And then, of course, when Telltale came out with their game, with Clementine, that was just like, I would watch the show, then I would play that. Because two different storylines, of course. And there was just so much between the game, the comic, the show. There was so much Walking Dead. But I always thought that the show was one of the best. And I always went back to the show. So that definitely makes my top 5 TV shows of all time. And coming in at number 2 is, now this is so close to number 1. Well, my number 1 is, believe me, number 1. But this was a close to be tied with like number 1. But I couldn't do that. I had to have, a definitive number 1. So coming in at number 2 is The Sons of Anarchy. This show was... I'm losing my voice because I've been singing. I've been singing so much on my studio. I've been getting requests from these people, my friends, to sing with them on duets and contests because they know when they sing with me, they always win. And some great close friends, and we're doing a lot of holiday contests with Christmas music. So I've been constantly singing. And doing podcasts on YouTube for friends. So I'm constantly talking or singing, one or the other. Yeah, The Sons of Anarchy. Unbelievably written. Non-stop action. There's not one episode in the history of that entire show that's slow or bad. You could pick any episode. It's amazing from the first episode to the last episode. It's just an unbelievable show. It's like a never-ending movie when you watch the entire show in its entirety, all the seasons. And it builds a story. It constantly keeps going. Again, beautifully written. The characters, you grow attached to them. Jax Teller, all the biker dudes. You see the life inside of bikers. And I've actually got to see how close that is to real life because I filmed bikers. I actually went to Bike Week and I did photography of actual biker gangs in real life. And it was interesting to see like how it was realistic to the show. And it was really interesting. And the violence, and this show is very, very close to the type of show that it is when you see my number 1 show, because they're kind of in line with each other. Different kind of families of violence and action, but similar type of show. I always say if you like one show, you like the other. You know what I mean? They're kind of close. Which brings me right to my number 1 TV show of all time, hands down, without even thinking, The Sopranos. Now this is kind of like, that's the biker kind of gang side. This is the mafia Italian kind of side. But, like I said, different kind of a show, but almost the same. And they kind of intertwine with each other, too. I know on the Sons of Anarchy, they do kind of do a little bit mob-related episodes. But The Sopranos is just unbelievable. Totally obsessed with The Sopranos. I've been watching it since day 1. We're massive fans. We're always quoting the show. We're always talking about the show. Actually, not a day goes by. We went to Soprano Con recently. We got to meet them all. We're good friends with them. I actually have uncles that actually own Italian restaurants in real life, and they're always there eating there. I've actually did photo shoots of them in real life on set and whatnot. And met them and stuff, and ran into them. And just... because a lot of them are from Jersey. A lot of it was filmed on set in Jersey. And it's funny, a lot of the iconic places that they show on The Sopranos, I grew up in. I ate at those restaurants. I hung out there as a kid. A lot of people that watch the show won't catch those references, but I did. I grew up there. I'm a Jersey guy my whole life. That was my whole hometown. So and that's another thing that really brings the show close to us as me and my family watch it. It's like, and it's funny too because that... I'm Irish and Italian. My mom is pure Italian, and my dad is half Irish, half Italian. And a part of Italian that The Sopranos, that's my whole mother's family was just like that. They talked like that. They were from Jersey. There's so many different references. And, you know, there's so many comparisons. It's funny when we watch that show, it's like, oh my God, you know. It reminds me of my grandma. It reminds me of my grandfather. Because they talked like that. You know, they acted like that. It was crazy. And, you know, my mother's side of the family, they were tough cookies. And so that show was always close to me. And that show was an amazing show to me. And that's why The Sopranos, you know, David Chase did an amazing job with that show. He just got the best characters, the best actors, the best writing, and the show just went together and just worked out perfectly. And that's why I think The Sopranos is one of the best shows ever. And I don't even think anything is close to it. But, I mean, you know, this list that I made, in my opinion, is a good list. It's an amazing list. Sure, there's a lot of honorable mentions. You know, Stranger Things, great show. Trailer Park Boys, The Office, Grey's Anatomy, you know, Breaking Bad. Great shows. The Honeymooners, The Munsters. You know, awesome shows. Great shows. But I think that this top 5 is the top 5, you know. And there's the shows that I go back to all the time and I watch over and over again. You never get tired of them. When something's your favorite like that, you can always go back and watch them over and over again. They never tire themselves out. There'll always be classics to you if they're your true favorites. And they're making a movie, a Soprano movie. It's going to be a prequel to the show. And they've actually been filming that around here. They've been filming that in Newark, which isn't far from here. And it's been interesting watching that on my local news channel. They've been actually having updates on that, of them recording The Sopranos. So that'll be cool when that movie comes out and that movie is done. We'll see some more landmarks. Take care, everybody. That is my top 5 TV shows of all time. Hope to see you on the next year-end special, and hope to see you on the next Christmas extravaganza holiday special. Take care. I really love you guys. I really do. Forget about it.